Welcome everyone from around the world to Reykjavik, Iceland, where the wait is over and the battle to be crowned 2021 MSI champions is about to begin. Kicking off the group stage, it's two teams that conquered all comers from their respective regions. First onto the stage, it's the top team from Korea's LCK and reigning world champions, DWG KIA. Facing off against DWG, the #1 team from North America's LCS, Cloud9. The wait is over. It's time to kick off MSI 2021.
Squad gon' turn on the squash like we don't see no other players. Ain't nothing to squash, ain't nothing to solve. You played and you already did. I'm ready to mob, I'm ready to mosh, shit moving with nobody scared.
Where were you when the West rose up?
It starts right here.
SK Telecom continue to rule the world. Fuzi goes godlike.
就在已经超神了。 This is what peak League of Legends looks like. And here we go. Game 1 MSI 2021 DWG KIA versus Cloud9. What a way to kick things off. I'm Drakos, and it is my absolute pleasure to be joined. First international appearance, no flame. It's my boy Caedrel.
Was it Worlds Play-ins last year? And on the desk a little bit.
That's
but as a
true.
caster, it kind of is my first international appearance, and I am so excited to do it.
Well, and you're not alone here. There's a lot of players setting foot on the stage that either haven't been here in a while or experiencing some of their first times. A lot of names that we are excited to see, but inevitably turning our attention towards some of the veterans. You heard it on the desk, and you're going to hear it here again on the caster desk as well. Jungle mid, the matchup that every single person is talking about. If you're in high elo solo queue, you know to fear this man, Canyon. An absolutely lethal threat. Can Blaber and Perkz match up against him and ShowMaker? What we're going to find out, but the biggest question on everyone's mind really is what's going to change in this patch. Rumble, powerful in solo queue, and it would appear top tier ban as we head to picks and bans.
Yeah, just as they were talking about on the analyst test, things like Rumble, Diana, Morgana, these AP junglers are coming to fruition, which means AD mids are also strong. We've been seeing Lee Sin solo lane as that's been banned away from Perkz. He's laughing there on the camera. You can see he's been spamming that in solo queue. Lots of the solo laners here at MSI prioritizing the Lee Sin, gives you a lot of push priority, a very, very good champion to early skirmish with, and it pairs so well with AP junglers. So AP junglers, AD mids are the key here, and that's why mid jungle is such a big focus.
Well, so far, 2 bans on those AP junglers. Maybe we see a third. Morgana, the other big pick that's rumored to be rising in popularity in professional play and in scrims from what we have heard. Now, if all 3 are banned away, not only does it limit the AP jungle pool, it also limits AD mid laners. More often than not, you want to see those 2 paired together. Morgana, though, is up and available. Jace will be the final ban, and might see our first Morgana of the tournament as first pick here now locked in, expecting that to go into the hands of Canyon.
Yeah, Canyon's been playing a lot of Morgana in solo queue. One of the strongest AP junglers alongside that Rumble, so that's going to get first picked away. How is C9 going to respond? I would be surprised to see a Diana. We might see something like the Kindred. Varus, Jinx are the strongest ADs on the patch, you would argue as well. The poke Varus so prevalent in fights. Poke them up before the dragon spawns can get you that priority towards the objective first. So we'll have to see how C9 responds. That's in Varus insta-lock. And it's all down to jungle here for me. The Kindred is something I wouldn't be surprised to see. Maybe go towards an AP mid laner for Perkz. Things like the Sylas could be really strong against the Morgana. And then how does DWG respond?
And Caedrel, I love it. If you have not tuned in to any League of Legends since playoffs, Chem Tank is dead. God bless. We got a Kindred, Morgana, jungle matchup into a Jhin, Leona bot lane. We got a Varus coming in as well. Every single pick is different in terms of overall priority. And frankly, Canyon on Morgana versus Blaber on one of his signature picks in the Kindred. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait. This meta is going to be a lot more fighting, a lot more action. and so much outplays to expect. You're not going to see Hecrims and Udyrs running around the Rift. You're going to see skill fights. You're going to see bindings, skill shots. You're going to see lots and 1v1s, 2v2s around early scuttles, and I'm so excited to see how it goes. But jungle bot lane has been picked for both these teams. C9 on red side can counterpick mid or top, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of Sylas priority for C9 here into that Leona, into that Morgana, as Renekton's already banned away. They're banning away the blind pick tops that Khan could have and trying to target him down.
And of course, Fudge, one of the least experienced members on this stage, still only 18 years old. Yes, he's technically 3 years into his career, and he has grown a lot over the course of LCS, but I know a lot of people are wondering how he will stack up against Khan. So getting him a safe match and potentially giving him that counter pick could be the first step on setting him up for success. Now that said, Caedrel, mid lane, still what we want to see. Gotta be a fan favorite matchup outside of the jungle. Orianna now banned away. We've heard that control mages have been very popular in scrims. Maybe we see something like a Viktor picked up, or maybe we get a curveball.
The thing is, this meta is so unpredictable. There's so much big changes to the jungle, which if jungle gets changed to more AP-orientated champs, then mid lane all of a sudden becomes more AD-orientated. Control mages slowly fall off. You can see the Lucian ban coming out. The Renekton ban is a flex pick for the side of Damwon because you have the Morgana jungle. You can put the Renekton mid. ShowMaker's played that. You can put it top as well. So banning out the flex on the Renekton, taking away the Lucian, leaves the Tristana open. You would ask if ShowMaker wants to opt into that, or maybe another AD mid. Maybe things like Kiana could come out. Even these assassins could come to fruition as the Lulu gets banned away. Not surprised to see that taken off the board. Perkz playing a little bit of Lulu in solo queue alongside Blaber and Kindred in the duo queue sessions I've been seeing, which is very powerful mid-jungle 2v2, right? Level 6, the Kindred gets buffed up, and he's your damage source.
And having a supportive solo laner when you already have double AD carries and a Tahm Kench locked in is a big deal, but maybe it is the Viktor that's going to be locked in here. Of course, the other pick, I think on everyone's mind, is the Tristana. Halo Blade's Tristana still ridiculously oppressive, barely touched in the patches between playoffs and now, so have to see if that's going to be the option coming in here for ShowMaker. Would be a very aggressive pick. It'd be on Perkz to survive the early laning phase.
Yeah, C9 also saving their last pick for top here, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Khan maybe look for a blind pick Sion. There isn't too much available. I mean, the Rumble's taken off the Jace, the Renekton, lots of picks taken away here. As we're seeing hovers on Zoe, that would mean you have a double AP mid-jungle, which kind of frees up C9 a little bit in terms of stats prioritization. Kind of helps him a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see some more AD come out of the top side then for that one.
And when you've got a Morgana, a Leona, a Jhin, and a Zoe, this is going to be one of the biggest Merc Treads games we've ever seen. That is the freest real estate I have ever seen. Anyone who can be building that item should be building that item. But the question is, how do we round this composition out? Is it the Sion? Gnar is the hover. Keep in mind, this champion has been hit repeatedly. If you were watching NA, you were on 11.5. Gnar was very powerful. He was hit on 11.6. He was also hit again on the most recent patch. Less movement speed on the hyper proc, less damage on the hyper proc. One of his primary trading tools in the lane phase. Despite that, though, still DWG KIA very comfortable locking it in as a blind pick here, and a champion that's generally hard to shut down completely.
Yeah, we'll see how Fudge responds. Does he want to go for a weak side top like Sion? Maybe even Karma could shut down the Gnar a little bit. We've seen counters to Gnar like Irelia. I would be surprised to see something like that come out from Fudge. I think a safer top here is also always good because you have a lot of scaling, you have a lot of wave clear, and you have a lot of poke. So we'll see what they opt into, but the Gnar blind pick, we've seen it throughout the last couple of months alongside Renekton, but that's going to be a GP into the Gnar. And Fudge, I mean, the GP is going to be pretty strong, I suppose, because you have a lot of immobile carries on the side of Damwon, the Jhin, the Zoe. They're looking for poke, they're looking to walk up. Zoe, yes, has a lot of range, but if you can land the GP ult with a Viktor ult, that's a lot of control in fights. If you imagine a Dragon fight with a Varus, Viktor, and a GP, that's a lot of zone control. So Damwon have to be careful, but like you said, they've got a lot of poke, but they've got a lot of CC too.
A lot of poke, a lot of CC. If they can get set up in the mid lane, DWG KIA can certainly take this one over. Way too many long-range, non-committal CC tools between the Zoe, the Morgana, and the Jhin. That is a lethal trio. Now, if the footwork is good enough, if the movement is good enough for Cloud9, maybe it will not matter too much, but a difficult prospect to be certain. Where are we looking right now, Caedrel? What lane has got to be the most important here in the early game?
Well, I think bot lane is kind of neutralized to the point where you've got Tahm, Kench into Leona. Yes, we'll have the push in that lane, but I think there won't be too much action. Maybe Canyon can look for early pressure towards that side. But I think top lane has a little bit of priority in this game. You don't see too many weak side tops here. You have a GP, yes, you can put a weak side, but up against the Gnar with things like Morgana, Kindred, there's a lot of dive potential for both sides. So we're looking at jungle, we're looking at mid priority as well, because if ShowMaker can get the push on Zoe and move to sides, that'll be very dangerous, especially if the GP falls behind, loses the side push, and that means that the Gnar has free roam across the map. So we're looking at dragon fights, looking at team fights. You've got the Zoe on one side with poke, the poke Varus on the other side, a little bit of poke from both sides, but a lot of team fight too, a lot of engage.
And of course, the flexibility to adjust the Varus build for less poke, for more straight-up team fights. But range advantage over on the side of DWG KIA. Can they use it to cement themselves an advantage here in the early to mid-game?
And that's the key, right? The GP kind of solidifies the point where they have a lot of range, but the GP ult will mean the gap closing is a lot easier. So keep your eyes on these big spells from the solo laners of Cloud9. Keep your eyes on Zven, whether he can poke down the side of Damwon. But ShowMaker is definitely the person to watch for Cloud9. They need to be very careful when they're setting up round objectives.
Absolutely do. So let's get it kicked off. This is going to be game 1. If you're just joining us, it is, of course, patch 11.9. A lot of changes since playoffs on 11.6 or 11.5, depending on what region you were in the first match of one of the tournaments we've been waiting for a long time. Last year, of course, canceled. Zven, a player who should have been there last year, now getting a chance again to play on this stage. And level 1, already getting started for Cloud9.
Yeah, Vedius said on the desk, be careful of Cloud9's level 1s. We saw it in the finals as well. Also things like the lane swap that they did, but this time around, they don't have the Tristana, they don't have the Sion, because they can't opt into that. Maybe they want to look for some kind of invade, but that early ward on the Raptors will solidify some vision. And Canyon is actually running Predator on this Morgana. So he's going to be basing early, getting those boots and moving around the map. I think he also based for Sweeper, so they might be able to take this ward away and get some counter information going now.
And of course, with Verizon 5G All Chat, you can share your opinions, cheers, and well wishes using the Verizon 5G All Chat. We'll take a look at some of those tweets as we move through this game. For now, DWG staying group, staying together, knowing that ward is there and going as a team to shut it down.
Yeah, but the key thing there is they swept away the ward and they spotted Canyon, which means that Canyon starting on the bot side, because it's already 1:24 into the game when they clear that out. 5 seconds to get the blue buff, no chance. So he's starting on the bot side, C9 have information. As we see a pause already, but C9 were kind of pulling the wave there to help themselves out. They'll know that the Damwon is actually leasing on the bot side, whereas Blaber is starting on the opposite side of the map, on the top side.
And so many of these little decisions are, of course, going to add up to define what we can expect from the early game. Lane push here and there can often alter a jungler's pathing and early priority, but it's something that we'll check in on. We'll keep you guys updated as to the nature of the pause as we get more information. But for now, a brief respite, a time to take a break. I think the problem, Caedrel, and when you're a caster at these international events, is there's just so much to talk about. Because not only do we have a brand new patch, brand new ways to play the game, we have so many players, we have so much history, and especially between these two teams, right? You've got former world champions on one side, you have the most successful North American org in LCS history, and now potentially, and a lot will change depending on how this tournament goes, a lot of people looking at Cloud9, this Cloud9 roster in particular, as one of the strongest North American rosters to ever come into a tournament like this. And Vedi, already confident enough in this team to call them out, to predict, to say that they can win. Now, I still think that when we look at North America over the last few years, you have to view this region as underdogs. They've been just outside of that top 3. LEC has had the edge, but a lot can change today, and a lot can change in this tournament depending on what this Cloud9 roster can do.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they do on this international stage. They should have been here last year. There was no MSI, but they're here this time around. And not only do the organizations have so much history, also the players, right? You can look at any role in this game and there's history. There's so much to talk about. There's so much hype. You know, Zven and Vulcan dominating bot lane across in the LCS. And then you've got Fudge, like you said, 18 years old, going up against Khan, who's like one of the most staple top laners at this point, such a veteran. He's been to finals in MSI, things like this. So we'll have to see how it progresses. But mid-jungle's definitely been the focus. And that's definitely the most exciting part, I think. Perkz going up against Damwon, and now he's in mid lane instead of AD carry. A lot more agency against ShowMaker. And
as an update, C9 pause, it looks like there was, in the end, no issue here, so we will be resuming the game shortly. But I think it's hard not to talk about mid-jungle for a lot of reasons. One, ShowMaker, a guy that you always want to look at, but he's going up against Perkz, right? A player who moved to NA and immediately started to dominate the region. Of course, it was a rough lock-in tournament, but after that, he's been going full steam ahead. As we take a look at this mid-lane matchup, a lot of things are going to change depending on how these junglers work. Blaber looking like one of the most promising NA talents we've seen in a long time. And on the opposite side, Canyon, arguably the best jungler in the world.
Yeah, if not the best jungler, the best player of the tournament, you could say, right? Canyon, so high up in solo queue, almost a step ahead of everyone at this MSI bootcamp, and these two junglers coming up against each other. Like you said, you've got Blaber, who's looking really good, really promising alongside Perkz. He's been unlocked. Even last year, he looked very, very strong, and now coming against Canyon, arguably the best jungler, if not the best player of the tournament. It's going to be interesting to see how both these junglers progress, because even if you look at the stats, they're kind of similar in ways. They're both self-sufficient, very, very efficient around their pathing. And this game, they're pathing to opposite sides, so they'll both get a full clear off. And we'll have to see how the mid-push progresses, because that's what junglers need. They need the mid-push. That solidifies the middle of the map pushed in, which means you can move the sides together. So they need to work together. They need to work as a unit in harmony to make sure they can get these side lanes even or ahead.
And one thing that I do like that we're seeing from Canyon already is the Predator now coming out. Of course, Morgana's a champion that's only really recently risen up as she got the jungle buffs, the clearing, of course, on her Tormented Soil, essentially double damage against monsters. You can see Canyon just zooming through the jungle, but see what that Predator is going to do if he just runs into melee range of a champion to make sure that he absolutely cannot miss that Dark Binding. It's a solid strategy, and pressure on Blaber to outplay that. Of course, you've got the ability to dodge repeatedly with the Kindred Q, but single binding hits on any one of these members, it's going to be a very difficult game.
Yeah, along with the blue smite, you can kind of walk up to them with the Predator and make sure you land that binding. But if you look at the top side, Fudge already has pressure, crashed the wave into Khan, based, did a cheater recall, and now he's kept his TP in this lane. As we see, Canyon actually backtracked on his pathing. He's level 4 to Blaber's level 3. That could be a fight here. We'll have to look at bot and mid push.
Going to be a big deal. That's going to be the follow-up CC. Already the Devour has now been used. Perkz locked up. Guardian going to block most of that damage, trying to trade back here, but the arrow goes wide, and in the meantime, it looks like Blaber's just going to have to concede the crab.
Such smart pathing from Canyon. He actually managed to full clear towards top and contest the bot crab by the time Blaber only got to level 3, so denies the crab, doesn't want to look for a cross map in the sense that they trade, and now he can get double crab. Already ahead in this jungle matchup. The mid priority also helping him secure that crab.
Really good look early on. Having just a small camp advantage, a small XP advantage is going to further snowball as the second crab comes through. Canyon feeling damn good in this early game. That said, Perkz getting the better of ShowMaker for now in some of these early trades. Viktor Q just notoriously oppressive in lane. As we just check in on the rest of the map. Otherwise, lane state overall pretty even. Yes, Perkz doing okay in pressure and in trades, but ShowMaker still winning out in CS. And Khan, while he did end up giving a pretty favorable recall to Fudge, it looks like he is still managing to keep pressure on the top side.
Yeah, Fudge still has a TP, so lots of back and forth going in these lanes. See ShowMaker TPing back, but the key thing is Canyon's already slightly ahead. He's already based, he got double crab, has the boots, has the Predator ready. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Canyon clear out these Krugs, clear out the Raptors, get level 5, and look for action around the map, because they have got this bot push, they are winning bot trades, they have the mid push. Maybe they want to look for some kind of mid to bot. And we see such aggressive trading coming out from BeryL.
Perkz locked up, immediate Devour. Of course, long cooldown early. If you can force a couple engages back-to-back, maybe you can punish, but Zven for now doing quite well. Even if it is the lethality, Varus, of course, Halo Blade's just very, very strong in the early laning phase. Certainly going to outvalue, at least in short trades, the likes of the Fleet Footwork. But that said, Canyon now on the way to this bottom tower. They are both incredibly low. A single binding hits and they are done. That said, Zenith Blade has been used. Canyon still going to walk in, binding in, cleanse out from Vulcan. Really good pressure comes in from Canyon.
Yeah, that's the pressure of the mid to bot, having mid push and having your jungler one step ahead of the enemy jungle because of the double crab, because of the base with Predator. He walks up there, and although he doesn't really force much other than a cleanse, he makes it so Zven loses bot wave and Damon's bot lane bases at the same tempo as C9. So that means they'll both get back to the lane together at the same time, but Damon just naturally has an advantage, denying XP and golds from the bot lane of C9. And what did Canyon lose for that? Basically nothing. He used about 10 to 15 seconds of his time. He already cleared out the Krugs, and now he's already pathing towards the top side. So these small kind of intricacies making it so Canyon can get his lanes ahead, so they can make sure that they can get the gold leads, the XP leads coming into these early dragons.
And you see already ShowMaker small XP lead over Perkz, Khan doing okay over Fudge. As level 6s start to come through, maybe we see a bit more aggression coming in from Khan on the top side when he has access to that ultimate, but I think more important for C9 is going to be the cannon barrage from Fudge. Does it stop out some of these aggressive plays? Does it give them the avenue to kick something off? Because as you mentioned in Champ Select, Caedrel, a lot of very immobile carries on the side of DWG KIA.
And he'll definitely need that cannon barrage soon, because it looks like Canyon's based again after clearing his top camps. He's walking back towards the bot side. His bot camps are going to respawn, and BeryL's teamed up with ShowMaker to secure bot side vision. So C9 have a big problem on the bot side of the map. That's why you can see them grouping up. They need to get rid of this vision so they can actually see Damon moving from mid to bot, so they can stop it. But it looks like they're going to start up an early Drake. Perkz TPing back to mid. The cannon barrage is up, so if Damon want to contest this, it could be a 4v4.
Pressuring ShowMaker right now. That's going to be the ultimate used up. ShowMaker going to be forced away, holding onto that flash as long as he can. One more tick, the Q, the flash out, but
Canyon stole the dragon!
Canyon! We're going to need a replay of that one. In the meantime, the fight is now kicked off. Cannon barrage going in, but it's only level 4 for Zven, level 5 for Blaber. They do not have the hard CC they need to keep this fight going. Black shield on, DK simply walk away, and they might fish for the re-engage. Canyon, level 6. Initially, Binding goes a little bit wide, dodged out by Blaber. They're now backing away. C9 pushing forward slowly but surely. They've got Perkz behind them, ready to back them up. ShowMaker has no teleport. BeryL getting run down.
Flash.
Binding connects. Third auto will connect alongside the arrow, and that's going to be first blood for C9.
That's actually pretty big. They lost the dragon. I think Canyon must have blast coned over the wall because he still has his flash and smited it away from Blaber. I wonder if he actually leveled up from that and got to 6 and was able to turn the fight, but Perkz moving down and ShowMaker not having TP meant the Damwon had to run. They couldn't turn the fight, and first blood goes across to Cloud9. That's a really big win for them despite losing this dragon.
And we'll have to look back, of course, at how that exactly played out. Really surprised when we look mid. It looks like ShowMaker's going down. Seems like everything is going good for C9 in that trade. And then, of course, Canyon just stealing the Drake away. As now Khan He's not just going to let Canyon have all the fun counter jungling here. He's moving in, stealing Blaber's red buff. Blaber's still only level 5 in this game.
Might die here, though.
He's just going to get Gnarred into the wall. 1, 2, 3. That's the wall up. An assist comes in for Zoe on the backside. Khan, clean invade.
Disaster for Blaber. Ever since the double crab, he's been a step behind. He loses the dragon, and now he loses his red buff and loses his life. Canyon's 2 levels up onto Blaber, and all Canyon's been doing is using his priorities to secure camps. Let's see here. Canyon is level 5. He blast guns over the wall with Predator, steals it away. I wonder if he levels up here as well, because then that means the team fight, they have to run away. He does level up, so Blaber has to run, and C9 think that they have to flash away and lose the fight, but ShowMaker's in base. They have the cannon barrage like you talked about, Drakos, and because the key factor in Perkz, having that mid push and being there for the fight, means Damwon have to run away. I think this recontest from them was kind of greedy.
The struggle, of course, for C9, though, Caedrel, is they don't have a lot of ways to get fights kicked off. You can see they have good damage if they can isolate a target, but even when Sven hits level 6, he might just end up trading his ultimate into a black shield. Cloud9, if DWG KIA wants to come into them, maybe they can find a favorable fight, but proactively, they really lack a lot of tools.
Yeah, they do. The black shield negates a lot of the engage that C9 have alongside the chains of corruption, but the problem for C9 is you have no push in top, Khan can take away your red. You have no push in mid and no push in bot. That means BeryL can move from bot to mid, and Canyon can start up the Herald for free. The dragon's down, he's a level up on Blaber. Blaber's a step behind. That means he has to clear his camps to catch up, which gives Canyon free time to start the neutral. So, steals away the dragon, BeryL's hovering around just in case C9 might want to contest his Herald, and ShowMaker no flash means that C9, the only real way they can crack open the mid to bot is by taking ShowMaker down and then unlocking the bot side of the map. But now, Herald's gone. That's probably going to be used in the mid lane. And Damwon, even though the gold doesn't show it, they're very far ahead in this early game.
And it's concerning too, because obviously mid lane tower is important for any composition, but when you are playing against a Jhin, a Zoe, and a Morgana, mid lane tower is just about everything in the early game. Once that breaks down, it is easy access into the Cloud9 jungle for DWG KIA, which means better vision, which means more long-range bubbles, more long-range bindings, more long-range Jhin snares. It will be brutal just to survive in the mid game for Cloud9 if they lose that mid lane tower.
Yeah, and Damwon are definitely focusing that objective. Khan has the top push, BeryL's come back to bot so they can contest the bot push now, but Sven with that first blood, he is going towards the Serrated Dirk, towards the poke Varus. Maybe if they can get some good trades down here, they can relieve Perkz, who's suffering a little bit. Blaber still 2 levels down, he must level up from his Raptor camp. No, he doesn't, so he's still level 6 at 10 minutes into the game. I think Canyon so far ahead right now in this early game.
And of course, we have to remember that for Cloud9, when you look back at them, if you listen to the interviews that they had, they're not a team that tilts or falls apart easily. They're a team that did not turn away when they started losing games to Liquid in the final. They stayed, they kept their eyes on the prize. But the question is, can that same level of focus come through? Because the international experience is not there for Cloud9. You can see already 35 across most of this ride-up. Khan, a very veteran player, we're going to have to hold that thought, though, as BeryL is going in. That's going to be the ulti follow-up. Now BeryL's going to be in trouble. He's going to get taken out.
Kill.
They're overstaying, and that's the C9 bot lane showing up clutch when they needed to.
Sven still has heal. This is what we talked about. They need to get some pressure in bot to relieve Perkz, who's against ShowMaker playing so aggressive. Canyon's walking in his jungle, and he's getting a Herald on his tower, so this 2v2 kill is massive for C9. It gets Sven further ahead. The problem is they're too low to be able to move into the river. Vulcan had to base. The curtain call's coming out,
but Ghost had no vision, so he was just blind firing, hoping, because if he hit a single one, obviously Canyon could just follow up immediately, but they hit nothing, and you can see Sven absolutely fearless in this bottom lane.
Yeah, if he hit one of those shots and got vision, Canyon could have flashed over the wall, right? Sven has no flash from the 2v2, and C9, their win condition is on this bot side. Fudge with the cannon barrage is helping these 2v2s out a lot, and Damwon blunder on the bot side of the map again. Sven, so far ahead on this Varus, you would argue, building towards that Mythic. I think when it comes to the next Dragon, he will be crucial in getting them chunked out before the fight starts. We see the replay. Looks like BeryL's the one who engages this, but they have the eats from Vulcan, and they have the Cannon Barrage.
Of course, level 7 for Ghost. Fourth shot goes in, but it doesn't really hit on Sven the way they want it to. An easy kill, an easy pickup. The Hail of Blades with a little bit of lethality is just so powerful at this stage in the game.
Yeah, and that's so crucial there, because what Damwon was going to do is push in mid and move towards bot again. You can see all the pressures on the mid-bot side, but C9 starting up the Dragon again. TP's coming in from ShowMaker. They don't have the Cannon Barrage, and both top laners have TP. It could
level
be a 5v5.
Canyon. Binding going to go down, the snare's not going to connect. BeryL going to flash in with the auto Perkz. The follow-up CC is there. Now moving in is the Zoe, but Vulcan says not today. Trouble Bubble will not connect, but Canyon in the midst of everybody, level 9, now looking to isolate Sven, but he just one-taps him! The damage is enough. The Kindred saves the day. Meanwhile, on the backside, BeryL now going in. Keep your eyes on Khan, keep your eyes on the Mega Gnar. He's got just enough time, but no, he can't find the ult. Perkz takes down BeryL. ShowMaker on the hunt, but he will not find the bubble. Cloud9 come out on top in the play.
How did they get away with that? It looked like all of Cloud9 was going to get aced there. The Mega Gnar coming in, they all flash out, but they managed to get some kills. They get 2 kills in total. Yes, they don't get the Drake, but C9, I thought they were wiped off the floor there. I thought DK was going to get the kills and the Dragon, but they kited out. Zven takes down Canyon, BeryL falls, and they managed to kite out this fight.
And when we look back at this, Caedrel, we said mid-jungle is where we needed to watch. Blaber, he got demolished in the jungle, but the bot lane for Cloud9 is the factor that has turned this around. Zven and Vulcan have been so clean, Canyon so confident, so far ahead, but not strong enough to survive Zven.
Yeah, the Lamb's Respite keeps Blaber up just enough in time so he can hop over and get the Blast Cone. BeryL gets Blast Cone into Perkz. Perkz flashes away from the Mega Gnar, and they all manage to escape. ShowMaker didn't land the bubble, the bindings didn't connect, and C9 get the kills they need to keep this game alive.
But Khan, still again here, waiting in the darkness. And yes, Zven is strong, but Blaber remains in a difficult position. DWG KIA focusing, shutting down enemy jungler, making sure this Kindred cannot come ahead. It is such a tough position.
Yeah, really, really tough position. Blaber needs to farm up a little bit more to get back into the game. He's still a level down on Canyon, and it feels like DWG control the river. And C9 are the ones finding windows to start the Dragon with numbers advantage. Start objectives, these small windows, but DWG have pressure in all lanes. And C9 are managing the Storm really well. If they can keep this up, maybe deny this Dragon, take it away for themselves, then they can slow the game down, because this is a Cloud Dragon. So the Soul is going to be Ocean or Infernal. Huge, huge teamfight abilities, huge team fighting Soul. So if either team picks that up, it could be crucial.
And Namir S at Petra Canyon. I know that DWG is the strongest one, but nothing is possible. Cloud9 to win the first match. Watch them, and I might not have been a believer, my friend, but amen. They are getting some work done on the map. Now, they're not out of hot water yet. Certainly, DWG KIA staying neck and neck in terms of the overall gold, even if Zven is quite strong, but a very tight matchup here in the early to mid game, despite Canyon's very favorable start.
Yep, really far in the jungle, still 2 levels up. They still have all the lanes pushed, and they are eventually going to get this top tower, which Khan has had pushed in all game. Managed to take away red buff, got vision for himself to keep himself self-sustained, and we expected the game to play out like this. We expected there to be a lot of mid-jungle bot side priority, and the top lanes to be weak side as Perkz dodges away from the bindings. And I think when it gets to 2 to 3 items, C9 will start coming online. You can see the Merc Treads being built across the board. No Mythics complete just yet, but once they start completing them, C9 will have a lot of poke and a lot of teamfight tools with the GP, the Viktor, and the Varus. The Jhin and Zoe, they only really have single target damage. They only really can keep up in the single target engages, whereas C9 have a lot of tools to work with in the teamfights.
Blaber just barely making it out on that. Good time on the hail of arrows there. Now, Khan moving in to break this. Of course, GP ult's coming in. TK also bringing in some backup as well. It's going to be 4, 3 in the mid lane rather. Kindred ult coming out, not quite able to gnar them out to safety, forcing early flashes. Cloud9, good value out of the Kindred ult, but very risky play.
That's one way to find an engage, using the Kindred and the Tahm Kench ultimate to force the flash out of Khan, but this is the problem. Top push moves to mid, then they can start cracking open the mid tower with numbers advantage. Bot lane is late to the play, the tower falls, so although DWG are losing out in the kills, the pushing lanes is helping them get the towers, and that's why they're ahead in gold still. But C9 are holding on. You can see Zven has picked up the Prowler score, so the mythics are being completed. And they just need a couple more items so that when the teamfights start, maybe look to chunk them out, poke them out, and use these massive teamfight ultimates around the Dragon. Because both teams have 1 Dragon, the next Dragon's up in 3 minutes, so the Soul is at least 18 minutes away.
And it does feel like the game is still very tight, still very closely contested, but as DWG KIA start to pull a little bit more ahead, as mid lane tower is now broken, something we highlighted earlier, very crucial. How many more of these picks start to go in the favor of DWG KIA? How many plays have we even seen this game where a single sidestep from Cloud9 is the only thing that separates them from life and death? Much harder when you don't have vision, much harder when you don't have reliable control of your own jungle. But for now, Cloud9 are trying to control the terrain, control the battlefield by laying down some vision around this Dragon, by securing the Scuttlecraft for Blaber, making sure that he can at least get out of the deficit.
Yeah, C9 weathering the storm, and Zven and Vulcan have been a key driving factor behind that. We saw them in the LCS as very strong bot lane, self-sufficient in the lane, and DWG's bot lane statistically kind of behind in a sense. They weren't super far ahead in CS, even though they were such a dominant team. It mostly came from the top side of the map, so C9 exploiting what you could argue is a weakness for DWG. But DWG still have full map control right now.
And DWG, of course, still an incredibly dominant game, and Ghost and BeryL still a very solid bot lane, but you're right, they have been known to have those hiccups. You heard it from Wadid on the desk, you saw it if you watched the finals as well. Send a Tahm Kench game, you've got Ghost wandering to gank lanes, giving up his life. So while the team is mostly very clean, mostly very consistent, if you had to point at one area where it has a little bit more inconsistency, it would be the DWG KIA bottom lane. 0-3-0 the score for BeryL, 3 of the 4 deaths on the side of DWG KIA. And Cloud9, trying to fight back at least a little bit, pushing up their vision line into enemy territory. ShowMaker just scouting into the fog.
Yeah, an interesting setup from Cloud9. They've gone for a 1-3-1 to keep the lanes pushed as much as possible as Blaber finds Ghost.
Red. Gale Force now comes out. TK on the way. They need to pull back, though. Canyon is there with the Black Shield to stop any potential follow-up. But Cloud9 looking for picks. Binding is going to go in. Vulcan will sidestep. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Khan goes in. Stridebreaker right into the wall. Fudge going to quickly get out of that one, or just make it all okay.
Yeah.
And a BeryL there to clear the wave as well.
Good reaction there, but you can see the pressure down one half. C9 tried to find windows to make a play. They managed to get Ghost, but the heal on the Gale Force keeps them alive. C9, what they have going for them now is they have the bot push, and they have the mid push. They've swapped up the lanes. They put Zven and Vulcan into the mid lane to deal with ShowMaker, and now ShowMaker's the one saying, okay, you guys match them. I want to go to bot side. So Perkz, Zven, Vulcan keeping the mid bot side pushed out while Blaber keeps farming. Still 2 levels down, but he's recovering slowly. The Dragon's up in 50 seconds. Both top laners have TP. You can see Khan's already basing. And Damwon's next objective is this bot tier 1. So you're going to see them contest mid to bot. Maybe Khan runs out of base to mid to help his team. And there might be a dragon fight on the cards in the next minute or so.
ShowMaker set to take this tower. And while it is only 1 Drake apiece, Ocean Soul, pretty impossible to win against if you're playing against a poke composition. And they do manage to secure it at the same time. If you were the one getting poked, it also helps out a lot. So Ocean Soul about the most favorable role for both sides here.
Yeah, and Damwon have so many resources. Not so much the gold, but they have the pushing lanes. The pushing mid, they have the Herald to use whenever they want onto a tier 2 tower. They have all the vision on the bot side of the map. Khan has the priority top, so he's grouping as well. So C9, even though the gold's only around 1,000 deficit, the amount of resources Damwon have in other respective roles is dangerous as Perkz gets chunked out a little bit there, has to use the Chaos Storm.
Trouble Bubble into the binding, a clean combo there, finally connecting, but not quite enough burst damage in that exchange. 5 minutes from now, another half an item comes through. That's going to be a very different story, however.
Perkz gonna base and TP back. C9 playing through bot here. They have the push in bot. They don't have the push in mid. Let's put Fudge from top to mid, and let's play 4-man into bot side. Maybe we can contest the Dragon. ShowMaker's been poked out a little bit already. Perkz has the TP. Here he comes. The Dragon's up.
Perkz can come in and Khan, Gnar, not ideally timed. He's going to have 15 seconds before he can even start to stack that rage again. Just now turning into mini. Maybe Cloud9 feel like they can force this fight. TP coming in on the Herald from ShowMaker. Ready to push in. Pressure in the mid lane, though. DWG KIA just keep Cloud9 here. That Herald will crash into mid. Meantime, BeryL getting chunked out. C9 now backing away, looking to finish this one. Canyon not even going to walk up to contest. That is the Dragon to Cloud9, but here comes the curtain call. Fudge now going to be in trouble. Lamb's Respite blocking any follow-up damage for now. The rest of Cloud9 now on the retreat. They got the objective they came for. They need to get out. That Herald is still working in the mid lane. Fudge flashing to safety. DWG KIA steadily pushing forward. They are a juggernaut. They will not be stopped, but they may not find any kills. Herald continues down the mid lane, breaks mid tier 2, moving on to the inhibitor tower. DWG KIA trading the Drake for a tower and a half.
C9 get out of the fight again. They used all their ultimates and zoning tools to secure the Dragon, but at what cost? Damwon have the pushing lanes again. They move bot, they get the tier 1. The tier 2 fell during the fight, and C9 are losing more than they're gaining, but they're slowing the game down. That's the key thing here. Perkz.
Follow up. Tahm Kench now coming in. Are they going to be able to finish it before Vulcan get in the area? Perkz now stepping forward, ready to match Ghost here. A lot of confidence coming in. Vulcan there to back him up.
Yeah, forces Ghost flash. Perkz doesn't even hesitate there. Keeps the flash. Vulcan uses the Abyssal Voyage to get in, but the key thing here is the Dragons slow down the game. C9 can keep wave clearing. Damwon's Nash is not that fast with Zoe Jhin, so maybe they think trading these neutral objectives for the Dragon and losing gold for it is how they slow the game down, get the Viktor Varus to 3 items, and then we can start to contest the team fights and use these ultimates more aggressively.
Vulcan, though, maybe caught out here. The immediate cleanse. Follow-up CC not quite there. And Caedrel, it's good that you call it out because ultimately, DWG KIA had the Herald. They could use it at some point. It had to be used. So for Cloud9, inevitably, there was going to be a pressure point on the map. The fact that they get the Drake, not too bad. Overall, though, still a 2K gold deficit. ShowMaker and Canyon are still terrifying. They are about to be able to start one-shotting anyone on the Cloud9 backline, while Khan might just look for the solo bolo here. Perfect layering of the CC from downtown. Ghost is the backup, and Fudge, essentially a solo kill up against Khan.
This is the problem when you lose your towers and the waves are pushed in. You can't greed for these buffs. As we hang on here, Blaber's getting engaged on.
Follow-up, Vulcan, not sure who he needs to devour. He's pulling back Zven. Zven going to throw out the ult, try to disengage with BeryL's in the midst of the entire team. DWG KIA going to find the shutdown. Perkz off to the side. The gravity field not enough to stop the coming storm. DWG KIA moving into mid lane, ready to break down this inhibitor. Perkz going to do his best to clear the wave, but DWG coming out on top again.
They might look for Baron here. 30 seconds on the bot lane of C9. Fudge has the TP and the cannon barrage in 15 seconds. Damwon's Baron is quite slow, so this could be a bit risky. If Perkz can get there with the Chaos Storm, maybe they can get the cannon barrage in. Blaber's coming out of base. Maybe he can look for the steal with the Lamb's Respite. This could be dangerous for Damwon, but it looks like they have the vision to pull it off.
Full confidence, 22-minute Baron. Perkz on the way in, as you said, ultimate up and ready. Here comes the cannon barrage.
So far, it's that cooldown for free. Damwon is going to be forced to reset. Maybe a small moment where Cloud9 can try to get some more pressure on the map.
And this is the key thing. Damwon's Baron is slow. Yes, C9 lose a couple of members, but the gold hasn't grown too much. C9 are slowly weathering the storm. They've slowed down the dragons. They're going to keep contesting the vision around Baron to keep their jungle warded up to make sure they can slow it down. They have the tools to slow it down. And although Damwon get the fight, they don't decide to push in. They try the Baron, and in the end, they lose out. They lost their tempo. They lost their lead in terms of having the time on the map. And now they have to contest the vision around C9 again.
Dragon now 2 minutes away. Bubble gonna go wide. And Caedrel, while Cloud9 certainly are fighting it back, it still feels like Damwon continue to pull out further and further ahead, just slowly but surely building these massive advantages. Khan now on the chase. 4 members stacked up here. This could be a massive Mega Gnar if he wants to go for the hop. The flash forward, he's gonna hit 2 to the wall. Khan, the immediate follow. Blam's right spot, it's gonna buy a few seconds, but it will not save the lives of C9. Damwon are here, and they are not to be trifled with. Zven on the backside, maybe, just maybe, the lethality Varus can turn it, but no. BeryL shutting him down, locking him up, stopping him from getting anything else. The chain CC simply too much, but Vulcan is there to body block. Vulcan is there to save his AD carry. Not enough to save the fight.
C9 are being greedy. They're walking out their base too much. Damwon have taken almost all of the tier 2s as well. They're mid-tier 2s down. C9 don't have anything to fall back to. They tried to run to their base gate, but at 23 minutes in the game, when Damwon have so much control, they can chase him down. You can see Khan on the Gnar chasing him down. Ghost using the Ws across the map. The poke coming in. C9, I think this Baron might fall, but Vulcan's using the Abyssal Voyage. He might try to get Zven in there. Zven, poke Varus. Maybe he can steal it if they get some kind of vision, but C9 need to find this to hold on.
Without Varus, the powered Q.
Maybe you can find
Maybe,
BeryL.
just maybe. The timing's not going to be quite right, though. Devour comes out, 3K, getting lower and lower. He doesn't have any skills left. He has to flash out to safety. That's going to be the Nash over to the side of Damwon KIA. Cloud9, a valiant effort, but will not be able to steal it away.
That might be the nail in the coffin for Cloud9. They've been dodging and diving away from Damwon to get these new objectives to slow the game down, but now when they have the Zoe, the Jhin, and the Gnar with the Baron buff, the siege is going to be deadly. But Fudge is really deep here. The blue orb spotting him out, and Khan can chase him down in this matchup. He's so far ahead on the Gnar with the Stridebreaker. Sidesteps the barrel there, which was crucial, and then gets the Mega Gnar just in time for when C9 think they can help him out. And Damwon have the vision to contest this. Damwon's all collapsing down, and Khan's engage was crucial.
And the follow-up CC here from Damwon KIA is just so impressive. The flash over the wall, the immediate follow-up for the Morgana ultimate, binding coming out as well. Zven tries to fire back, but hey, look, BeryL's cooldowns are up one more time. Now ShowMaker's coming in. Now Ghost is coming in. The amount of CC on this team is so oppressive. If you start to lose a fight against Damwon KIA, they are just going to keep beating you in that fight.
Yeah, and the majority of the time, C9 were able to kite away and get out of the fight before losing members, but Canyon solidifies it by flashing over the wall and getting the fight going and secures the members down.
And how confident are Damwon KIA? Can they use this Red Bull Baron power play just to end the game? Sleepy Trouble Bubble continues to connect, and the thing is, as more items stack on the Damwon KIA side and no resistance items outside of those Merc Treads are coming through for the side of C9, they are incredibly vulnerable to the Zoe, to the Morgana, even to the Jhin from these long-range engages.
There's a bubble into a binding. Eat is forced, and now Damwon can start to push forwards. They're playing a 4-1 with Zoe in mid, so ShowMaker just kind of poking them from the side, trying to hit down this mid-inhib, waiting for the waves. And Damwon, they're playing on 2 lanes. C9, they have the wave clear to be able to deal with it, but the bubbles and the bindings are what's going to hurt them the most.
ShowMaker going over the wall. Cloud9 just cannot start a fight. GP Ultimate is the big tool that they use, but if they misuse it, Damwon KIA have free reign over their entire base. So instead of fighting right now, they're just trying to weather the storm as best as they can. Baron buff is here. 1 inhibitor will most certainly drop. With only 1 minute left, can Cloud9 hold on to the rest of their base?
Khan has Mega Gnar now, and he's on the side. If C9 want to defend this tower, they're all going to be grouped up. That's why Khan's threatening with the Mega Gnar and DK. They can walk up and start hitting this tower. Perkz trying to get the wave clear going. He's stepping up. He has the Eat behind him, so he can afford to do this. But slowly and surely, Damwon are going to poke down this tower.
Good sidestep on the snare there from Perkz on the Jhin. Buying as much time as he can up against Ghost and the rest of this team. Strength of this control mage as opposed to Zoe just has this infinite wave clear. That said, not enough against the Baron empowered creeps. Ghost moving in. 2 shots, last shot remaining, ready to use it on an inhibitor if necessary. And sadly, Cloud9 just getting forced back. They have no room to fight.
ShowMaker went out of mana in the poke. He went down to blue buff to collect it from Canyon, I believe. Now he's back with the blue buff, so the poke's coming in. The Leona ult comes out. I don't think they found the engage, though.
Follow up on the Zven. Vulcan holding on to Devour. Keep your eyes on that cooldown. He's going to stop the BeryL engage for now. Cloud9 need to be ready to turn here. They may have to wait for the Tahm Kench Devour to be up again before they try anything. Perkz, is he ready to commit the ult? Here, but here comes Khan again. 3 into the wall. GP ult, the immediate follow-up. Now the Kindred ult coming in. Cloud9 buying a bit of time, but do they have the damage to turn this fight? They're surviving. They're holding on. Canyon goes golden, but he's in the midst of the base. It's still 2 towers up. Ghost moving in, but Perkz holding on for dear life. Not nearly enough. Fudge and Vulcan, the last 2 members standing, but DWG KIA moving through the base, moving around the Nexus, and taking out each and every member of Cloud9. Cloud9 was a valiant effort in the early game, and while Fudge will find 1 kill back, DWG KIA will close this game out with confidence. Ghost stepping forward, ShowMaker unafraid. DWG KIA looking for their first win at the MSI 2021 group stage, and they're going to do it in style. From downtown with a long-range composition, DWG will take the win.
Such clean execution. You could see it from every single fight. DWG were pushing C9 back, and in the end, with the Baron buff, C9 had nowhere to run to. They were pushed all the way into their base gates, into the Nexus, and DWG found the fight, cleaned them up, and ended the game. Around 27-minute game, and as soon as Baron fell and DWG got that Baron with Zoe, with Gnar, with Leona, they can almost find the engage whenever they want. The Mega Gnar's on the side. Leona can just pop her ultimate to make them back off, and C9 had nowhere to run to. They had to stand their ground, and in the end, DWG, too much firepower.
Way too much firepower, way too much long-range CC. DWG KIA coming in with a good read on what would work for them in the meta. And while it was a good look for Cloud9, the lethality Varus on the bottom side, looking like a solid first pick, won them out the bot lane pretty handedly on a lot of those exchanges. It was not enough as they moved towards the mid-game. And I mean, DWG KIA, you look at a game like that, and from the outside, you see, ooh, little glimmers of hope for Cloud9 here, little glimmer of hope here, but DWG KIA just so oppressive, choking you out of that game, getting a little bit of vision, finding a pick here, finding a fight there, and it started as a 1K gold lead, and it just kept growing for DWG KIA over the course of the entire game.
Yeah, and you can look at gold as one of the resources that DWG had for the majority of those 15 to 20 minutes, but I think the pushing lanes was the most important one. When you have pushing lanes, you have to show on the lanes when you want to contest jungle vision, which means they have full vision on you most of the time, so they can choose the fights, and your windows are so small. That's why you saw C9 walk into river, trying to find something and getting caught out, and in the end, they got the ace and they got the Baron.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I feel like it was a solid performance from Cloud9 and from the LCS, but if you're an LCS fan and you're feeling a little sad, don't worry, because drops and watch rewards are returning to lolesports.com. Fans can, of course, get in-game content, exclusive emotes and icons, and partner loot by watching live MSI games at watch.lolesports.com. I know I'm signing up right after this. And after the break, we'll take a closer look at the opening game as DWG KIA kicked off MSI with a win.
Lovely.
Lovely.
Dear me, I just wanted to tell you that soon, everything you know will change. You're part of the breakout, part of an elite group of individuals that launched the global movement. The pioneers that changed the sole definition of a gamer. I'm you, from the future. And I just wanted to tell you that your future will be legendary. This is for you, gamer. Exceed the game. Unleash the future.
You don't have a chance against me. I can calculate 90 trillion moves in advance. Not fair. Not fair.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back, everyone, to the State Farm Analyst Desk. DWG KIA came out on top after a dominant mid-game and started their MSI run with a win over Cloud9. We had so much to say about what we could see on 11.9, and the draft, I think, delivered. Let's just first get the biggest takeaways Wadid when you saw the draft from both teams and what they decided to go for. Who would you say won the draft?
I feel like Cloud9 did more tournament draft, and DWG KIA's draft seems a little cocky against Cloud9 here, because like, I don't see their safety or any late game part from their team comp, so it was pretty interesting to see.
What about the early prio on the Morgana specifically?
I mean, yeah, I think that one of the risks that you have with a Morgana blinding it early is that there are champions that can mitigate what a Morgana does. Tahm Kench being one of the obvious ones, and you may have noticed from this draft, Tahm Kench gets a lot of value when playing against a composition like this, along with Merc Treads as the cast has highlighted. And I think that what Cloud9 drafted with things like the Kindred to mitigate a lot of the potential AoE damage burst. I also think that Gangplank can make life hard for champions like Jhin and Zoe. And I very much agree with Wadid that not only do I think that Cloud9 had good scaling, they also had lanes that they could easily play around as well. And we saw that in the bot lane 2 versus 2 during the game as well. So I was a big fan of C9's draft, and I was kind of like quite optimistic, especially with what we saw and what we saw in the early game.
So let's talk then about one thing we spoke about so much in Countdown, being the jungle mid synergy, and specifically the early matchup of Blaber versus Canyon. Can you paint me a picture of what Kindred and Morgana do and are able to do usually in an early game, and what transpired here?
Well, typically what we normally see is full clears from across the board, right? We didn't see a huge amount of early game action. That was kind of what was to be expected. I think one of the biggest things, though, was the fact that Canyon was able to get the double Scuttle Crab very early on, but also ShowMaker had consistent push in the Zoe to Viktor matchup, which is typically what you expect as well. And the way in which they utilized that was Canyon was then able to look at the early bot sides to force Zven and Vulcan back very early on. And the way in which Canyon used the early pressure that he had felt like that he was slowly building advantage over advantage over advantage versus Blaber. And you could see in the early game that that CS discrepancy, level discrepancy got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, we saw that happen, and those numbers going up, and seeing the objectives go the way of Canyon. He even stole that dragon, right, when nobody was really looking. How did you think Blaber dealt with it, and how much do you think the work that Canyon did laid the groundwork for what DWG would be able to do later?
I don't think it was like Canyon versus Blaber. It was more like other players from DWG KIA played so much better, because at the end, as you saw, Cloud9's bot lane was just smashing DWG KIA's bot lane. But for the Vedius set, for the first double scuttle, they made insane skirmishy ollie. So that made a Morgana advantage in the early game. And also, Khan just went into the red side and just solo kills Kindred. And I think it was just a team difference. It was not about like a jungler's difference. You know?
Okay, I think that's a wonderful observation. Also, as you said already, yes, they had pressure down in the bot lane. Zven and Vulcan were actually doing a phenomenal job. But if I had to summarize it, it almost looked like C9 were getting the kills, but DWG was getting everything else. How exactly did they do that?
I think that what was just really great was how they were consistently managing their waves. And as Wadid was highlighting, Khan used his pressure extremely well. He was able to steal away the red buff. He was able to get top tower first. After getting top tower, he transitioned down to mid lane, helped secure mid tower. And like you could see him just manipulating waves on a side just so effectively and using his pressure over Fudge. And just honestly how much better he was playing than Fudge in this game to perfection. And that was just allowing DWG to use the constant wave pressure that they had to move into the jungle, keep stealing things away, and even with downing kills, they kept that gold advantage.
As we look at this 21-minute fight in the mid lane where DWG was able to push Wadid, this is kind of a typical example of a game that makes you scared for what DWG can do, right? That they don't even need that much that meets the eye, but they're still doing so much on the map that allows them to push. This is, of course, a Khan out play. He doesn't need no teammates.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think that this is really where things started to open up in the game. specifically, because Khan opened up with that solo kill on the Fudge, and then this set us up for the fight in the mid lane, which is really where the game started to break apart for Cloud9. They were kind of losing objectives. They still had the potential late game. They still had the dragon control as well. But unfortunately, the moment that this fight went down, the gold gap started to get too big. Baron then also unlocked for Damwon as well, and they needed to kind of snowball ahead in the early game. And I think that largely off the back of Canyon and Khan, along with the pressure that ShowMaker was able to put in mid, they were able to do just that.
The Oppo player of the game in this one was Khan, and I think that's incredibly interesting because he was such a big story and focal point going into this year for Damwon, but also for MSI. Wadid, we were on Discord talking about the game, and you just typed, "Whoa, Khan!" Tell me what you thought about his performance.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, Damwon Kia's team comp was not about late game. So, I mean, when they failed to snowball early game against Cloud9 in some fights, I was like so worried, you know, because their team comp doesn't support their late game. But they have Khan. It doesn't matter. He pushes side lanes and he always moves first. He always winning the side lane split push. And also he comes to the team fight and just gnar everyone. So like, it's just so easy to play with him, no?
Yeah, he's the Oppo player of the game here. Fun fact is that after the LCK finals, he was also the MVP, but he split the prize money with everyone else on the team because he thought it was a team effort, something his old teammate Prey used to do as well. But I think this is one of the cases where we can see that he really did so much for Damwon by himself in the late game. And it's, I think, the only thing that people could almost take away from Damwon. Will it be as good as Nagari? It doesn't have to be. It's different, but it works for what they want to do.
And I think we saw the style that they wanted, which was slow, controlled, and it's what Wadid was talking about. The addition of Khan means that like you have slightly less volatility, slightly more reliability. And does that mean that potentially Damwon's ceiling isn't as high as it was? Maybe you could have that argument, but does it give way more consistency? Like, yes, it certainly does. And I think that this game is a perfect example of what Khan can do, even when he doesn't get that many resources. He is just a phenomenal player, and I think that he showcased it already on day one.
Yeah, a win for Damwon, back to the drawing board for Cloud9. And after the break, it's time for Game 2 as Detonation Focus Me take on Gillette Infinity. Don't go anywhere.